Hi, I'm Mark Nickerson, First Selectman of East Lyme, and welcome to East Lyme Issues and Answers, where every couple of weeks or so we get together and have discussions on issues and hopefully provide some answers for you. Current events, current subjects, debated issues, we bring them to the table, we have some discussions, and then we encourage your feedback on my email, at my email site, which is mnickerson@eltownhall.com. You can also reach me by phone at the First Selectman's office at the Town Hall. We'll talk to a variety of department heads from time to time, town leaders, volunteers from a variety of town organizations, help understand what's happening in our community, what makes things happen, what makes things work, the challenges we face, and the choices that need to be made. It's a privilege and honor to be the First Selectman of East Lyme and to work for you. We have an amazing town filled with amazing natural and man-made resources. And it's filled with wonderful, caring people who raise their families right, who look out for one another, and who support each other. I truly believe this. Our employees, and especially our department heads, don't just punch a clock. They serve us. There is a caring and a can-do attitude throughout the town, and we see proof of that every day. I have a list of calendar items, and then we'll introduce our guest today, who is Bill Scheer, our Deputy Director of Public Works. And we'll talk all things Public Works in a little bit. So, calendar of things going on. I want to remind everybody that now through the early fall, the Farmers Market is open every Thursday from 3 p.m. to about 5:30 p.m. It's on Methodist Street, which is right in front of the Niantic Bike Shop. It's pretty awesome. There's always at least a dozen tents or so, everything from flowers to produce, greens, gardening things, to meats, fish. I saw pork, breads, all sorts of things in between. Desserts, really good desserts. So come on down and take a look at the farmers market. Bring your wallet and support the local farmers every Thursday. 3 p.m. Beaches, the hole-in-the-wall construction zone. The hole-in-the-wall itself, the entrance to the hole-in-the-wall beach is closed Monday through Friday late afternoon, and then we open it up on the weekends to have access to the hole-in-the-wall beach. That beach is open during the week, but the access point would be through McCook's Park. So you can park at McCook's and then walk down the hill to what would be a very quiet hole-in-the-wall beach Monday through Friday. The VFW has a car show, a classic car show, every other Monday. Check their schedule, check Town Hall schedule. Every other Monday on the grounds at the VFW, that's the building right at the top of McCook's on Columbus Ave, I think that is. ProTech has their music every Friday night. Free concerts at the ProTech stage, which is under the awning on Main Street, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Friday evening. It's a cool spot. People are going to restaurants, they're walking downtown, and then they bump into this really cool music venue on our Main Street. So come on down for that. And what they do is they ask for donations. You can throw $5, $10, $20 in the hat. All that money, 100% of it, goes to music programs and art and education programs in our local schools, and not just East Lyme, but the area schools in our region. Cool thing. They've been doing that for many years. I want to say a decade or so. So good for Paul and the crew down there at ProTech. Every Wednesday, Parks and Rec and the Youth Services group puts together a music series on the beach at McCook's. You don't need a parking pass. You don't need a beach pass. Every Wednesday at McCook's. Of course, it needs to be good weather. Can't be a rainy deluge. It's got to be nice. Go on down to McCook's, and that's a cool scene as well. Go down there, and you get the surf, the sand, and some cool tunes. And Wednesday, I believe it's Wednesday, August 26th, the kids are going back to school. And yes, that's creeping up on our calendar. So we know we're getting toward the end of our summer season. There's so much that happens in our town. 28 department heads are always working on projects and improvements. Our town is chock full of dozens and dozens of committees and special groups that do so much for our town. We have the Lions Club, the Rotary Club, Care and Scheer, the Public Trust, the Land Trust, the Elbow Group, the Niantic Main Street Group. They're all always busy with projects. So if you're not involved, get involved. There are groups out there that would like you to participate. And my hat's off to all those that do lend their talent, their passion, their time, and money to these different groups that make us work. Because the show is taped, I can't have you call in and ask our guest questions. But do feel free to give me feedback. Again, mnickerson@eltownhall.com or call me at 860-691-4110. And I'd love some feedback, some show suggestions. If you'd like to be on the show, do volunteer. We'll bring some groups in on that. This week's guest is a stranger not to many out there, if you know about the town and how it works. Bill Scheer is our Deputy Director of Public Works. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Nice to have you here. Deputy Director of Public Works, what does that mean?
I work in both the Public Works Department and the Engineering Department. So I know you had Joe Bergaw on a couple weeks ago, and he, I believe, went into detail about the Public Works Department. But our Engineering Department is extremely talented. Most towns spend a lot of money on consultants. We do the majority of all of our design and surveying in-house, and we save a lot of money for the taxpayer. Other towns that go out to consultants, the consultants charge a lot of money, and they don't have the dedication that we do. We spend the time, we survey everything accurately, we design it with cost in mind. We save the taxpayer money, and then after we design it, we bid the project, we award the contracts, we write the contracts, we administer the contracts, and then we inspect all the work as it's being done. So we provide a great service to the town by doing all those services in-house as opposed to using consultants. And we really care about these projects. So, you know, I live in town and I have to look at everything I build every day. So it matters to me that this stuff is done right, on budget, on time, and to the best of our ability.
On budget, you're a taxpayer.
I'm a taxpayer.
So you have a vested interest from that side of the ledger as well. You know, it's your money that we're paying as much as it's everyone else's. So, you know, I'm a big proponent of small government, and you know, let's keep things small. But things need to be engineered, and the town needs to go on, and we need to do things like engineer new roads and dams, and recently you're working on the dugouts for the East Lyme Public Schools because they were condemned and fell in. So we had to build new dugouts and design them, and you spend countless hours on that. What are some of the projects you've worked on, let's say even just the last couple of years?
As you may have noticed, the streetscape, Main Street and now Pennsylvania Avenue, there's an entire new streetscape. There's a lot that goes into that. We have to survey the entire street. We have to create plans and specifications for the bidding process. Because without detailed instructions on what a contractor has to do, you cannot get bids that are apples and apples to each other. So the construction documents we prepare are extremely complicated and take a lot of time to do.
So we don't just say, hey, we got a pile of money here. Hey, you, contracting firm, come on over and lay some brick down and put some light posts in every couple hundred feet or whatever. I mean, this is some real detailed work.
It's extremely detailed work.
Okay.
The Pennsylvania Avenue streetscape alone was, I believe, 10 sheets of 24 by 36 plans and a book of specifications and instructions that were 3/4 of an inch thick that we have to write and create.
Before we talk about the boardwalk, which will be a main part of our discussion today, what other things have you engineered?
The hole-in-the-wall parking lot, which you're probably familiar with, I think that was 6 years ago, which is an environmentally friendly parking lot with that demonstrates, I believe it's 11 different kinds of permeable surfaces, and we treat 22 acres of stormwater from Main Street before it gets released into Long Island Sound. We did that. All the design, engineering, and everything I've talked about was done in-house, and we bid that, and we got very good prices, and it's one of a unique environmental showcase things in the town of East Lyme that's very rare. I don't think there's anything like that in the country.
Yeah, tell me specifically about that. So the stormwater that collects in the drains on Main Street and maybe Penn Ave, maybe Hope Street, all come down into one pipe, if you will. I'm going to speak like a citizen, not like an engineer. So it all comes down in one pipe and it goes into the hole in the wall retention.
Before we did that parking lot, all the Main Street stormwater, all the way up to Frosty Street and down on Hope Street, used to go through a pipe and go directly into Long Island Sound.
Untreated.
Completely untreated. You'd be sitting out there in a storm and you'd see McDonald's cups come shooting out the pipe. Garbage, oil, debris, sand, basically dirty water. So we put detention basins in there. Actually, there's a swirl chamber technology unit that the water spins around in a circle, and if anybody's ever been in a round swimming pool and ran around in a circle, all the dirt and debris goes to the middle. Same principle. That happens in that swirl chamber, and the dirt goes into the middle and goes into a chamber down in the bottom, and then we can pump it out at a later date. From there, that goes into 2 detention basins where the stormwater basically infiltrates into the ground through a vegetated, essentially a hole in the ground. And in that stormwater are pesticides, fertilizers, oil, grease, and the bacteria in the soil and the plants that are grown there basically digest all those bad things that's in the water and makes it clean as it goes down and gets absorbed into the groundwater. So on a small storm, the water never even makes it to Long Island Sound. It gets completely absorbed into the ground. But on a big storm, the first flush, the first few drops of rainfall that fall on the ground carry the most of the dirty stuff away. Right. That goes into the ground, and then later on in the storm, when you get the majority of water, like today, then that is essentially cleaner and goes out into Long Island Sound. So we treat a huge volume of water down in that parking lot. And there's signs everywhere that we actually designed. If you look at all those signs, we designed those in-house, had them made, and it explains every step of the way of what's going on in that parking lot. If you have interest, to go take a look at them.
It's we have. Isn't there information online too? People can check.
If you go on our website, yaletownhall.com, there's also a link to the hole-in-the-wall environmentally friendly parking lot. All the signs are on that webpage so that you can look at them at home, or if you're not in the area, you can look at them, and then you can come down and check it out in person.
That's cool.
I talked about trying to save the taxpayers money. All of the products that are in there, all the permeable surfaces, were donated by the vendors themselves. We cannot put a vendor's name on a product if we pay for it. It's not what a town does. But if a vendor donated the product completely free, then we can put their name on the sign. So the names that you see on the sign of vendors they donated their products 100% free to us to demonstrate in our parking lot.
You did some engineering down at Cheney Park as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, if you've been down to Cheney Park in the last 2 years, we redid the entire parking lot, maximized parking down there. There are some stormwater features there that you can't even see underneath the gravel. As the stormwater flows over the asphalt, it collects oil and other debris, and underneath those stones are some ditches that you can't see where the stormwater soaks into the ground and gets treated before it goes directly into the river.
Cool.
We actually also, the fishing pier down there.
Right.
We actually worked with DACO to design that pier. A pier design is slightly out of our knowledge base, so we brought a consultant in to help us with the pier design. But we took that, bid it, oversaw the construction of it, and the whole 9 yards. And the sign down there with all the fish on it that explains all the fish you can catch, all the records that are held in Connecticut and the country. We designed that all in-house. DEP gave us the pictures for free to put on there. So there's a lot of stuff in town that this department has touched that people, I think, see every day but don't realize that we have worked on it.
And I don't want to say we take it for granted, because we don't. We do appreciate our town. I know so many do. I get emails every day, people, or Facebook posts. People just love this town. But it is a result of this engineering. It's the result of this planning that we've had over this period of a decade or so. And it all starts in the engineering department. It all starts on a drafting board, is that what you call it, or just a scratch on a napkin. Some of it starts that way, and then it becomes mature and evolves into a real design work. But it all starts there, and so in a lot of you had to do with directly. Where did you learn how to do all this?
I actually went to UConn. I have a bachelor's in economics, and then I my real passion was engineering, so I switched over and got a bachelor's of engineering also. Okay. And I was teaching at Three Rivers, and I decided to go get my master's in management at Rensselaer. So that's my educational background. But even as a kid, I was building things in the backyard right after I could walk. So I think it comes by nature.
It truly does, because your products are top rate, and I'm glad you switched from economics to engineering. We as a town, we're very thankful, and I as a first selectman, very happy to have you, and thankful that you're on our team. The things that you've touched, the things that you've been part of, the things that you've brought to me, that's going to happen in the future, have been thoughtful and thought out, and come with a sense of prudent growth, if you will. We're not trying to build a city here. We're a small little village. We're a small little town, and we're just trying to make things better. What are some of the things we're talking about in the future? And then we'll go to the boardwalk. We want to talk about what the engineering involved in the boardwalk and what we would expect in the coming months. But what are some of the things that we'll be working on in the future, engineering and department-wise?
Obviously, we'd like to keep our streetscape going up Pennsylvania Avenue. We do plan on connecting sidewalks all the way from Flanders down to Niantic along Gorton Pond. That is not the easiest task in the world, but we think we've come up with the napkin sketch. We have the napkin sketch already. It goes from napkin to computer. So we'll be seeking funding, figure out a way to pay for that, but that's coming down the pike.
When we put sewers in Saunders Point, which eventually will happen, and we're working on that, do you get involved with that design?
We will get involved with it. That in itself, we will use a consultant to design a sewer project of that magnitude, but we will be reviewing it every step of the way to make sure it's consistent with what we want to see and what we believe is correct, because as part of a sewer project like that, the roads are so narrow in Saunders Point that as you put the sewers in, you'll basically dig up every road. So as part of that, the Public Works Department and the Engineering Department will jump in and redesign the roads as just like we did in Pine Grove. Mm-hmm. We redesigned all the roads in Pine Grove, so as part of that project, we will redo. The roads are not very good in Saunders Point. I'm sure the people in Saunders Point will tell you that.
I've been told.
So as part of that project, every road in there will get redone, new drainage structures, and we'll try to incorporate some stormwater management as part of the project also. That's what we'll do.
As a citizen and some guy that sold insurance for a whole long time, you'd never realize how much goes into any one product, any one project. Having the opportunity to sit in the seat for a little while and observe as deputy first selectman and 10 years on zoning, it's amazing. I think the common person, not common, but the average person out there is busy getting their kids on the school bus, running to work, getting them off the bus, getting dinner on the table, maybe doing an activity and getting to bed, and leaving and trusting the town to do it right. And we do. And we certainly do. Let's talk about the boardwalk. You were part of the initial design of the current boardwalk, the one that we're building now. We call it a boardwalk. It won't have many boards on it, will it?
No, it'll be mostly concrete and steel.
It's concrete and steel. So we're going to continue the concrete design that Amtrak built a couple of years ago, all the way down a hole in the wall. Right? Yes,
it'll basically be a 10-foot clear concrete path, just like the Amtrak boardwalk is now. There'll be some slight differences, which I can talk about if you'd like.
Let's do that.
On the back side of our boardwalk, there'll be a 6-foot-high black chain link fence, just like there used to be on the old embankment boardwalk. Mm-hmm. And on the front, we will not be continuing the railing that you see on the Amtrak boardwalk. That railing came from the old boardwalk. We're going to switch to another railing that will require no maintenance. It's the same railing they use in Disney World. So it has a proven track record of lasting and with no maintenance for over 25 years. It'll look a little different, but it's a much better product than the other boardwalk.
So there'll be a slight difference. We'll know that we're on the new versus the old because the railing will be a little different, and we won't have a wall behind. We'll have a chain link fence. Tell me about the design. Tell me what's taken so long.
Well, from an engineering perspective, we're doing fantastic. I know the engineering perspective is slightly different than a political perspective. we're really not that far behind. If you think about it, our original end date, I believe, was the end of July. I believe, and we're in August, and right now we're anticipating to be, we're shooting for December to be complete, which is only a matter of months.
Right.
In engineering terms, that's good.
Yeah.
I know you get a lot of pressure on a daily basis to finish it faster, but this is an extremely complicated project.
From the citizens' point of view, it's delayed, and it is frustrating, and even the dumb guys like me who really don't know anything about this, but I'm learning on the job, obviously. We understand it takes a while. We certainly want to build right, and we want to build it to the budget number. We don't want to have to go back to the citizens and ask for more money. So the delays, although frustrating, they're also, they make sense.
In the beginning, obviously we had one of the worst winters on recorded history last year, so that slowed down construction during the winter. Actually put it pretty much to a stop. And then once we started driving sheet piles, we have 33-foot steel sheet piles that go very deep into the ground. Our borings, we did a geotechnical investigation before we even started the project to figure out what was underground. Our borings did not show anything below 5 or 6 feet. They showed rocks 5 or 6 feet down. And as the contractor started driving sheet piles, we encountered a rock deeper than we thought, and we encountered other things down even deeper. We believe there was pieces of wood. We don't know if it was from the hurricane of '38 or if there was 10,000-year-old trees from when the last time the glaciers went through here down deep. Wow. So the sheet pile driving was much more difficult and took much more time than we ever anticipated. Now we have a local contractor working with us who is working very well with us. He knows we're on a very fixed budget with no funds to go over budget on, so he has agreed to not charge us anything for that extra time and extra effort, and we're working as a team down there to try to get this thing done correctly and on budget. So the only negotiating tool we have is time. The other thing is we're using a very specialized concrete down there for a marine environment. It's used a lot of places, but not usually around here. So it took us a month to get the concrete mix, and to get a concrete mix approved, we not only have to get the plant that makes the concrete mix approved, but we have to get all the rock and sand and everything tested to make sure it meets the requirements that we need to have this specialized concrete. It's a very dense concrete mix that will not allow salt to soak into it. Engineers know that salt is the natural enemy of concrete. Most people don't know that, so that's why we have to have a very specialized concrete mix on this job. That approval process took a month and slowed us down.
And the Amtrak security provisions in the contract slowed us down quite a bit as well. But we're at that place now where we're moving along, we're pouring concrete, we understand the design. The people, the actual architect engineering firm that designed this project and stand behind this project are also on site as the inspection company. Is that correct?
Yes, we would not design a boardwalk in-house. That's slightly outside of our scope. So we brought Parsons Brinkerhoff, one of the biggest engineering firms in the world, on board to design the boardwalk. And they have a full-time inspector on this project. I'm out there almost every day myself to see how things are going. So they designed everything, they stamped it, they have the liability behind it, and they have a full-time inspector there ensuring that it's being built to the plans and specifications that they designed.
And that's important based on the history we've had with this Niantic Overlook. The fact that it was built substandard, designed substandard. It washed away. There was a lawsuit. The town received money. We've also received FEMA money. So this build out now, this rebuild, is being paid with FEMA money and money we've picked up in a lawsuit. So there's no new tax dollars being put into the project. Bill, I thank you for coming out today. These are difficult things to explain because you're coming from the engineering world and you're out there every day and you understand it. And to be able to come down and sit and talk about it and have the average person, the average dude like me who knows nothing about engineering, nothing about building anything, understand exactly what you're going through. It's a skill you have to be. You're not just the engineer. You're talking from the management side of your degree as well. So I appreciate you coming out.
Thank you very much.
Folks, thanks for tuning in. My name is Mark Nickerson. I'm the first selectman of East Lyme. I hope you learned something today about boardwalks, about our Deputy Director of Public Works, Bill Scheer, an asset in our community. We have so many people in our town that work so hard for us. We have a great town, and it's because of good planning and good dedication of the people that we hire and that volunteer for our town. Folks, if you have a comment, question, by all means reach out to me, mnickerson@eltownhall.com. Again, I'm signing off. Thanks for tuning in to Issues and Answers. We'll see you next time.